Thanks to virtual reality, Jean-Pierre Houdin's dream has finally come true. He can at last enter the last secret spaces within the Great Pyramid. For the past 10 years, this French architect has been obsessed by the mysteries that still surround this unique monument. His new investigation will take us into the very heart of the edifice.
Giza, a stone's throw from Cairo, where the Great Pyramid, the Pyramid of Khufu, has stood for some 4,000 years. 146 meters high, 5.5 million tons of limestone and granite, a source of mysteries and enigmas that have intrigued Egyptologists for centuries. For example, how did the Egyptians, without wheels or pulleys, manage to haul blocks of stone weighing up to 60 tons to such heights? New 3D simulation techniques could well provide the solution to such long unanswered questions. Here is the Great Pyramid, as reconstructed by engineers from Dassault Systèmes, with the help of an architect, Jean-Pierre Houdin. For this pyramid enthusiast, the construction of the monument relies, among other techniques, on the use of an inner ramp, which rose inside the edifice in a spiral form. This tunnel would have enabled the Egyptians to raise the blocks one by one to the summit. After long months of intense work, the engineers have succeeded in completely rebuilding Khufu's pyramid using the method proposed by Jean-Pierre.
We're in the real conditions of the period because we only use the techniques and materials available at that time. We haven't encountered any scientific obstacle to the theory. We don't claim that it happened this way, but we do say that Jean-Pierre Houdin's theory is realistic from a mechanical point of view, which for us makes it a scientific theory that deserves to be regarded as valid.
Encouraged by this success, which has made him famous around the world, Jean-Pierre has decided to tackle another mystery, the very heart of the pyramid. In addition to various corridors and ventilation shafts, the known inner layout contains three main elements: the Queen's Chamber, the Grand Gallery, an impressive steep-sloped corridor, and the King's Chamber, a veritable pink granite strongroom housing the sarcophagus. When archaeologists first discovered these rooms, they were all empty, looted and pillaged by thieves in bygone days. But Jean-Pierre believes the pharaoh's personal possessions could still be inside the pyramid. He suspects there are other rooms, hidden deep inside the structure, that no one has previously suspected could exist. He delves once more into the official plans of the pyramid, carefully scrutinizing them for the slightest clue. One small detail catches his attention: the narrowness of the corridor leading to the King's Chamber and the size of the stone block used to close it.
This block couldn't have been brought from the Grand Gallery, which is to the right, but only from the chamber. Why not from the gallery? Because the corridor from the Grand Gallery to the chamber is narrower at the beginning than at the end, so the block couldn't have entered through this space.
Workers would therefore have sealed off the access to the King's Chamber from the inside. But in this case, what happened to them?
We don't imagine for 1 second that in building a pyramid of 5.5 million tons, they'd end up forgetting or walling in people in a room and not have foreseen an exit for the workers. It's ridiculous. So there had to be a second entrance to allow the workers who installed these blocks to get out.
And so Jean-Pierre has to discover where this unknown access is hidden. In a meticulous examination of the chamber walls, his eye is drawn to a particular block, rather different from the others.
I saw that this block here was not exactly like the others. The other stones are stuck really close together, and it would be hard to slide a razor blade between them. But at this point here, between this block and the one to its right, I had an old credit card in my pocket, and I said to myself, all right, let's try it. And it fitted in like an ATM cash point. And so there was a joint. And I said, that's strange. If there's a joint, then this stone should be able to slide. I honestly believe that behind this block, there is a second entrance to the king's chamber.
Behind this block on the north side, just next to the sarcophagus, an exit could be hidden, through which the workers would have left before sealing up the chamber for eternity. For Jean-Pierre, this passage would not be just a simple exit, but the access way to a veritable parallel circuit leading to other, still unknown funeral apartments. Large rooms which could be similar to those found in the pyramid of Snefru, Khufu's father. Placed in these connecting antechambers would have been all the king's personal furniture and belongings, chosen to accompany him on his journey to the afterlife. To test this theory's viability, the engineers program a virtual transfer of the Snefru pyramid antechambers to within the Great Pyramid. Everything fits perfectly. The antechambers, in red, fit inside the grid between the rooms already identified, the corridors, the grand gallery, and even the ventilation shafts.
We start with the geometrical model of the antechambers from the father's pyramid and paste them onto the 3D geometrical model of the son's pyramid and check that there are no inconsistencies from a geometrical point of view. And then we realize that in addition, this can even explain certain bizarre things inside the pyramid. We had never understood why this shaft from the Queen's chamber deviated in this manner.
And then there's the shaft from the king's chamber too, which also has to twist and turn. We can see it here.
As he waits for official permission to check his theory in situ, Jean-Pierre can make a virtual visit to the secret rooms as he had imagined them. Thanks to the 3D simulations, it is now possible to bring the past back to life and to imagine every detail of Khufu's funeral ceremony, celebrated before the pharaoh entered his tomb, to rest there for eternity.